I'm going to show you this technique on these 4 words. These are MDF, but you can also pick up the wooden ones at the dollar store and they work just as well. It's so hard when you're decoupaging these to get into all those little intricate little spots, and with this technique it solves all of that. So this is what you're going to need to do this project. I've got all of these napkins. They all came from the dollar store. You need a lighter and you need a squirt bottle with some water or a little dish of water and some Mod Podge. You're also going to need a couple paint brushes, one for the Mod Podge and one to clean up the edges when you're finished. Now I am doing this in my metal painting table. If you're doing this in the house, you want to make sure you have like a cookie sheet or a metal pan underneath because you are going to be burning napkins. We don't want to wreck anything. And you also want to make sure that you're doing it in a very well ventilated area. I'm out in my shed with my door wide open, so that's not an issue. Now you only want to use 1 ply of the napkin, and the plies that I take off I like to save because I can custom make my own napkins and I love doing that. It's so neat. I'll put a link down below in the description for that. So you're going to size your napkin to fit your words, place it where it's going to kind of line up. This one needs a little bit more than, it's a little bit bigger than the one napkin, so I have to kind of place it so it looks nice, and then we're ready to put the Mod Podge on. Now you don't want to put the Mod Podge on too thick. You want just a nice even coat across the whole word, just on the top, and you want to make sure that you're spreading that Mod Podge right out to the edges of everything so that napkin will have a nice seal all around the outside of the letters. If you don't have enough Mod Podge on the letters, when you do this technique, it'll burn the napkin right off the whole letter too. So you want a pretty good liberal coat over the whole piece. Once I have it stuck down, I like to take my finger and go all the way around the edges of each letter and make sure that the napkin is adhered really well. And then we're going to just trim off all the excess napkin. You don't want a whole lot left around the edges. Okay, now we want to clean up our work area. Make sure you don't leave any little bits of napkins. We don't want to catch anything on fire. Make sure you have your water bottle right handy, and we're ready to start burning off all of that extra napkin. And you'll see as you light it, it's going to kind of catch on fire. Watch your fingers, be really careful, and it might burn from one end to the other. Just keep an eye on it, and you can see it's forming right to the letters. It's so cool. It just kind of burns off all that napkin that's around the edge and leaves the napkin wherever there was Mod Podge on the letter. Now you can see why you don't want to leave too much napkin around the edges of it. You don't want to have to burn any more than you need to. And you can see it sometimes it just kind of flows around all the little nooks and crannies as you go along and makes it nice and neat and tidy. And sometimes it'll go out and you might have to restart it again, but just keep an eye on it, and you can see how it's forming right up in that little area that if you were to sand that with sandpaper, it would be a bugger. And then I'm going to take that little paintbrush, and there's little ashes, so that will just clean away all those little ashes and neaten it right up. We finished the hole outside, and now I'm going to work on these middle pieces. I like just to take a pair of scissors, just poke a hole in it, and then light it with a lighter, and you'll see it just will smooth out all that area. Now this technique will only work on napkins or tissue paper or very, very thin paper. It will not work with scrapbooking paper or regular computer paper. It's too thick. You need a piece of paper that's going to burn really easy and really quickly. And if you don't have enough Mod Podge out to the edge of your letters, it will burn that napkin too. So that's why it's so important when you're putting the Mod Podge on to make sure that you have it right to the edge of each letter. Okay, now I'm going to work on the next one, and I decided that I want to have the background white. I find the napkin pops a little bit better. The first one I didn't paint, but these last three I did, and I've just painted them with some chalk paint. You want to make sure the paint is completely dry before you do this step. And I'm going to just decoupage a napkin on just like I did in the first one. And this one again is a little bit bigger than a full napkin, so I'm just going to size it up and match it, and then decoupage it with my Mod Podge onto the word. Just putting a liberal amount again over the whole word, making sure I'm getting it right out to the edges. And when you're putting your napkin on, you want to make sure you do it slowly. You don't want any wrinkles or bubbles. So just pat it down really carefully, make sure that it's adhering right to the edges. I like to take my finger all around, make sure that it's sealed really well before I start burning off the extra paper. And it's so important to make sure that you clean up your work area before you do the next step. We don't need to be catching a craft room on fire or setting the fire alarm off, so just use caution and safety. And it's all done, and see how intricate that is, and it just formed to that word perfectly. And now on to the next one, and I love this floral napkin. I think it's going to look really great on this word. All done, nice and crisp looking letters. Now I'm going to finish our last word, home, putting a liberal amount of Mod Podge over it. Now, if you're finding you're getting a few wrinkles and bubbles, get a little bit of saran wrap and just dab it on, and it'll help you eliminate some of that problem if you're having it. And when you're using the saran wrap or the cling wrap, it doesn't stick to it, so you're able to push it out. Now this one I've just laid flat on my metal table so I can kind of videotape it a little bit better, and you can see how it just forms right into all those letters. And if you have a metal table like this, then you don't have to worry about hanging onto it and burning any fingers either. And this lighter is just one from the dollar store. It's just one of those candle lighters that works perfect for this project. So you can just imagine doing all of those cutouts from the dollar store for all the different seasons, Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and getting the corresponding napkins, how you could create fantastic home decor and have it look nice and neat and perfect. They're all finished. I'm going to seal them up with some polyacrylic sealer, and I remember what I said, this was game changer. So if you haven't tried this out, you gotta try it. Head to the dollar store, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, grab some of these words, get out your favorite napkins, and give this a try. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.